Okay, here we go. So this is going to be a demonstration on how to do your final ribbons project. All right, so these are just a couple examples of what I've done in the past for this project. So hopefully you find this pretty cool and interesting, and it should be kind of a fun project. So these are done in color. So you know, in typical years we've been able to use a little bit more supplies and get our hands on some acrylic paints and some watercolor, and this one was a little bit of both. This one was mostly colored pencil, okay, and this one was also colored pencil as well. But what you'll notice is the goal for the project is to fill your sketchbook page with these fun type of rhythmic ribbons that are going throughout the page, going back and forth. And really, there's a lot of different tricks that you can do after watching the ribbon tutorial with these different types of ribbons. Okay, so there's a few requirements for the project. The first requirement is that you have to have 5 total ribbons. Okay, so at least 5 total. Okay, so I should say 5 plus. You need to have 5 or more. I would recommend probably keeping it. Actually, I'm not going to set a limit on it, but when you get over like 10 or 12 or 14 ribbons, your page could end up getting a little bit crowded. But I would at least shoot for 5. If you do 5, you need to make them nice and big. This needs to be an open composition, which means that the ribbons are actually going to run off the page. Okay, your ribbons need to run off the page, so you could have one coming in like this. Alright, but they need to be running off the page. Every ribbon should run off the page. They have to overlap. Okay, your ribbons have to overlap at least one other ribbon. And then you have to have at least 3 different ribbons. Okay, so rule number 1, you have to have 5 total. Rule number 2, they have to run off the page. Rule number 3, the ribbons have to overlap at least one other ribbon. Rule number 4, you have to have 3 different types of ribbons. Okay, so these are the ribbon rules for the project. Alright, and I'll put these in a document so that you can easily read it, but these are the 4 rules for the project. Now, for the principles of design, okay, so when you think about your artist statement that you're going to write at the end of the project, principles of design, what principles are we using? Well, whenever you think about composition, you want to have balance. Whenever you have overlapping, a lot of times what you're going to need is contrast with the different values. Okay, so that's shading, lights and darks. Okay, so contrast would be lights next to darks. Alright, and then the big one that we really want to focus on is rhythm. Okay, now rhythm suggests that something is moving. Do these ribbons look like they're moving? I would say yes. I think they look like they're going back and forth. Almost looks like somebody took a ball of ribbons and threw them up in the air and took a picture. That's kind of what this looks like. Alright. Now the cool thing about this is you have no reference. There's no reference photo. Okay? So no reference for this picture. The only reference you have is the tutorials on YouTube. And please make sure that you watch the YouTube channel. Okay? Alright, so now that we have the rules set out, let's go ahead and take a look at what this is actually going to look like. The first thing that I would do is I would always do this in pencil. Okay, for this project, you are only required to do this in your sketchbook and with a pencil. You need your sketchbook, you need your Chromebook for the YouTube videos, and you'll need a pencil. Chromebook, sketchbook, pencil. Okay, you'll probably need an eraser too, so if you need a bigger eraser, there you go. Alright, now here's how we're going to start this out. Remember, we need at least 5 and then we need 3 different, so you're going to want to go in and watch the tutorials, but once you figure out how to do a certain type of ribbon, then you can go ahead and get started. So let's say I want to do one big cinnamon roll ribbon kind of in the bottom corner. Alright, now in order to balance this out, if I have one down here, I probably need something up here, and if I have one down here, I'm going to need something up here. Okay, or if I have one here, I'd probably need something here. So I want to balance it vertically and horizontally. So I just want to fill the page with different ribbons. They can be different thicknesses. Okay, so let's just have this little ribbon go. I could even have this one go up, which would be kind of different. Okay, that looks kind of cool. And then, okay, so now I need ribbons that overlap. So what I can do is, I can have ribbons go behind each other. Okay, so this one's going to run behind here. I can even have it poke out up here, which would be kind of cool. Alright. Up here, I could do ribbons that kind of overlap like this, where maybe I want to just go ahead and draw the ribbon first. This is kind of a good little technique for you to practice with overlapping. So if you actually just sketch it out right over top, what you can do is you can figure out which ribbon should go in front. Okay, so which ribbon do I want to go in front of which one? So basically, if I want this ribbon in the corner to be in front of this one, all I need to do is take all the lines I just drew through that ribbon and erase them so that it looks like this ribbon is actually going behind this ribbon. Okay, let me show you another example. If I have a ribbon going like this, and I just lightly sketch this out over top, whoops, getting a little ahead of myself. If you're wondering how am I drawing these ribbons, please make sure you go back and watch the tutorial, and it'll make a lot more sense. Okay, so if I want to make sure that this ribbon, maybe I want this part to be in front, but then maybe I want this part to go behind this ribbon. So you can switch it up. It doesn't always have to be the whole ribbon overlapping. You can have this part of the ribbon going over this part, back, and then behind it, just by carefully choosing which lines to erase. So, pretty cool. Now, as you can see, I'm starting to fill up the page. The only problem is I only have 2 different types of ribbons. So what I need to start thinking about now is how can I add my 3rd ribbon? Well, I can first go back and watch the YouTube tutorial on how to draw ribbons. And I can go in and choose which type of ribbon I want this to be. Okay, so this would be the spiral. So if you like the way this one looks, go back and check out that YouTube video. It's called How to Draw Ribbons, and the specific title is Spirals. So how to make a ribbon look like it's spiraling this way. Okay? Let me show you one other little trick. Now that I have most of the page filled up, I have at least 5. I have at least 3 different types. I have an open composition. Let me show you how to make a ribbon do multiple things. Okay, pretty cool, right? So you're probably wondering, how is this going to work? Okay, so what you need to think about is you're taking this ribbon, and this is kind of advanced, but you're taking this ribbon and you're trying to get it to go from a singular ribbon, your standard ribbon here, to, let's say, a twist. So check this out. So I'm basically taking the first tutorial and I'm adding to it. Okay, so I'm going to make it do this, and then let's make this one like a bacon, like a piece of bacon where it just kind of waves back and forth. I just need to carefully kind of, sometimes if you squint your eyes you can kind of visualize things a little bit better. So I'm just going to go through and I'm going to erase the lines that help make it a wave. So you see how I actually messed this up a little bit, but it turns out cool. So this one kind of starts off like bacon, and then it starts spiraling, and then it kind of goes back into bacon at the bottom. So you can do a variety of different things. You can also make really big waves and then have it get smaller at the bottom. Okay, so these are just different options for you to choose. And it'll kind of make it look like it's getting smaller. Okay, so let's go back to this tutorial over here, and let me just kind of walk you through this again. Okay, everything needs to run off the page. All your ribbons should run off the page. All of your ribbons should overlap another ribbon. Okay, this one goes behind this one overlaps this one goes behind that, this one goes over and behind this one. Okay, I think I need a little bit of a line there. And then this one goes behind our first ribbon at the top. Alright, so they're all overlapping, they're all running off the page. Now I have my entire ribbons drawn out. The composition is pretty balanced, and we're good to go.